staff, correct?
No changes.
All right, changes from the committee? If not, is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Staff, correct?
No
Anybody?
changes.
All right, changes from the committee? If
Move-
not, is there a motion?
Move for
Oops.
approval.
Second.
We got a
Motion
little
and a
playback
second to
here. Approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Staff, correct?
No
Anybody?
changes.
All right, changes from the committee? If
Move-
not, is there a motion?
Move for
Oops.
approval.
Second.
We got a
Motion
little
and a
playback
second to
here. Approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Staff, correct?
No
Anybody?
changes.
All right, changes from the committee? If not, is there a motion?
Move for
Oops.
approval.
Second.
We got a
Motion
little
and a
playback
second
here.
to
Approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Staff, correct?
No
Anybody?
changes.
All right, changes from the committee? If not, is there a motion?
For
Oops.
approval.
Second.
That is so weird. You guys played 3 different times. It was repeated 3 different times.
Okay, I think we're good now. We were on a motion to approve the agenda. I think everybody was an aye. Is there anybody opposed to approving the agenda? Not hearing anybody, the agenda is approved. We're going to go on to the consent agenda. Are there items that the committee would like to pull this evening?
Madam Chair, items B, I, and K
Okay,
have been pulled.
B, I, and K. Is there a motion?
Move for approval as amended.
Second.
All those in favor to approve the consent agenda as amended, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, the consent agenda as amended was approved. We are now going to the audit update from Director Oster.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I am pleased to report that work continues to move forward on the FY 21 and 22 audits. We are wrapping up loose ends on the trial balance for FY 21, so we can turn that over to Carr Riggs Ingram. We're working through some items related to leases and a lease purchase agreement from June of 2021. And we're making good progress on the cash reconciliation items for fiscal year 2022. So those are my updates regarding the audit. I wanted to provide some additional updates regarding recruitment because I didn't have complete information at governing body last week. So we currently have 5 positions expected to post this week. That is a payroll officer, procurement officer, equipment service worker in the fleet division, and 2 auto mechanics also in the fleet division. So those positions will be posting this week. We have 2 positions currently posted, the controller and the accounting officer. We have 4 positions that are starting between now and the end of the month, 3 starting on February 18th. Those are senior budget analyst, treasury manager, and equipment service worker. And then the purchasing officer will start on February 27th. And we are beginning the recruitment for 2 accounting financial analysts. And we did have an accounting financial analyst start last week. So we're moving forward with recruitment. And with that, Madam Chair, I'll stand for any questions.
Great, I appreciate that update. Questions from the committee? I'm not seeing any, so we'll move on quickly to the consent agenda. The first item that was pulled was item B, request for approval of amendment number 11 to amend and reinstate rail yard lease and management agreement between the city of Santa Fe and Santa Fe Rail Yard Community Corporation. I believe we have Terry Lease. There you are at the podium. Terrific. Councilor Lindell pulled this item and she's been delayed in joining us because of weather. So maybe you could just speak quickly to, it looks like we are getting land in exchange for a reduction of an amount of money owed to the city. Can you just give us a little background on that?
Sure. Madam Chair, absolutely. Before I answer the question, I would like to introduce Christine Robertson with the Santa Fe Rail Yard Community Corporation. If had time and like, I can give a short update. To your question,
And can you just tell me her position there?
I'm sorry, the Executive Director of the Santa Fe Rail Yard Community Corporation,
Perfect. Thanks so much.
SFRCC. So Madam Chair, yes, so we've been in discussions with the SFRCC for more than a year now to remove the depot property. The depot building and land are both in the leased premises of the SFRCC, and there's a lease in place where the city is actually leasing that property back from SFRCC. The other property is the land only under the building of Warehouse 21. The land only, not the building, is in the SFRCC leased premises. And so instead of the city owning those properties and leasing them back, we felt it prudent to move ahead and come to an agreement with the SFRCC to remove those two properties from their leasehold estate.
So does that mean then that we will own the land?
Madam Chair, the city owns all of the land
Right.
under, in the rail yard there. Much of it is this responsibility of the streets, sidewalks, et cetera, the responsibility of the city to maintain. Most of the properties there that now have buildings on them is they're in the leasehold estates of SFRCC. And their role is really to work with the private sector to develop those properties. They enter into long-term leases, and the private sectors enters into long-term leases, and they construct the buildings on top of that land. So the city still owns all the land under there. These two particular properties are like I say, a little different because there's buildings on each. All the other properties were vacant without buildings, and these two have buildings on them that the city would like to move forward with.
And who owns the buildings?
On these two properties, the city owns the buildings, the depot building and also the Warehouse 21 building.
Okay, so basically we'll have total control over both those properties, both land and building.
Madam Chair, that's correct.
And in exchange, it says for a reduction of the deferrals owed to the city in the amount of $946,881. How did that number get reached?
Madam Chair, there's broken down into two components. First is the depot. We took the current monthly rent of the depot. And when we started negotiating this, there were still 97 months remaining on the lease and management agreement with the SFRCC. So what we did was take that monthly rent over the 97-month remaining. And then we did this on the Warehouse 21. There's no lease in place. So we'd had that land only appraised. And we did the same thing there, took the monthly rent times 97 months. We got those numbers, and then through a negotiated process, we multiplied that by 1.469%, which is a CPI increase. It's important to note that's not a compounded annual, that's a one-time increase. And that's how we derived the number of the $946,881.21. And those deferrals would be credited back over the fiscal years of 2023 to 2027.
Okay, that makes sense. Counselor, you have the wrong plate in front of you. Counselor Rivera.
So one quick question, Madam Chair. The depot, is it just the building itself, or does it include the brick walkway between the station and the rail runner?
Madam Chair, Councilor Rivera, Garcia, I mean Rivera, excuse me. You got your name switched. I know who you are, sir. I just looked at the name tag and it just popped out of my mouth. Sorry. So, I would have to look at the actual plat that's showing the leasehold premises to see if that is included or not. I don't have the answer to that question right now. I don't know if Mr. Burnett may have the answer or not.
Sam, do you know if the brick walkway?
Good evening, Chair, Counselor. That area around the depot would be under the city's control. So it would be all of the property and the building.
And is that property we're taking over, or is that property that's currently under city control?
Chair, Counselor, or
Madam Chair, Councilor Rivera, that property, like I explained earlier, the building and land is under the in the leasehold estates of SFRCC. The city has been leasing that back since, I believe, 2011.
So is it our responsibility to make sure it's in good shape at all times, or is that part of SFRCC's responsibility now? Because I know the brick portion is sometimes in good shape, sometimes not. I just want to make sure that if we take it over and it's not our responsibility, that it's fixed, I guess, before we do take it over.
Madam Chair, Councilor Rivera, I believe that would be, and I'd have to double check in the maintenance of the agreement. I believe that would probably be the city's responsibility.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Other questions from the committee? And if not, is there a motion? Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve item 6B. All those in favor, aye.
I,
Aye. All right. Anybody opposed? That motion passes. We are on to item I believe. Is that correct? A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yes, Madam Chair, that's correct. Item I.
Okay, this is request for approval of a contract amendment number 2 to contract item number 19-0828 with associated time instruments to install pedestrian door controls at Sandoval, Rail Yard, and Convention Center parking garages, extend the term and increase compensation by $76,118.25, excluding NMGRT, and a total amount of $1,576,118.25, excluding NMGRT. And we have Director Wheeler tonight, and I'm not sure, Councilwoman Villarreal, did you pull this?
yes, I
Okay.
did.
All right, I'll let you take it away then.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of questions. So the contract amendment is with the current company that we work with for the parking garages. Is that correct? Essentially how we're actually creating automatic entrances. We're not using staff anymore. So is this in addition to what they've been utilizing for us in terms of the contract?
Thank you, Madam Chair and Councilor Villarreal. Yes, it is the company that just sold and installed the new automated revenue control system. And
Thank
it is a new feature that we didn't originally scope into the project, but has become extremely important to serving the community better.
Got it. And so that 76,118, that's an additional increase, but the 1.5 million was the original contract, correct?
That's correct. That's all paid for and done, actually.
Got it. Okay, so I guess I just wanted to understand how this will work, because I understand how it will work with staff. But if it's for customers or people utilizing the garages, how would they use the extra card? Maybe you could just walk us through kind of the logistics of it.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. So a parker can use either the ticket that they pulled when they entered the garage on the card reader to reaccess their vehicle after hours, or they can use their parking permit pass, the one that if they use that to access the garage, and that'll let them in the doors. And this will be a huge improvement. Like right now, say, a Lensic employee has a permit, a pass, but they aren't going to get done with a breakdown of a show until 1. So right now we actually have to schedule parking staff to stay to keep the garage open and safe until then. And but you probably have heard a few stories about people come back to their car at 1 a.m. after not noticing the sign that says the garage closes and they can't get to it. So it'll be a lot more responsive to people's fluid needs.
Yes, I've had that happen to me. So I'm curious about, so the parking ticket, they can use a parking ticket to access or to activate the doors.
Correct.
Okay. And the doors you're talking about, can you tell us which doors we're referring to? specifically that go into the garages, those 3 garages?
The pedestrian doors, so on Sandoval, there's one there at street level. I think here in the convention center, you have them over by the elevators in between the convention center and City Hall. And so, yeah, it's all the pedestrian doors.
The regular doors that people access.
And then what
Anyway,
happens
okay.
is when a driver gets in their car and then drives up towards, say, the garage is totally closed, when they drive towards the gate to leave, it automatically detects them and opens. That part already works. It's just that people couldn't get to their cars to drive out.
Okay. So the one in the rail yard, I'm just thinking there's an actual gate that's right at the base when you're trying to head up the ramp. So you're saying that ticket will somehow activate the gate to open?
No, actually the car does.
The car?
The car approaching the gate, the car
Okay.
approaching the part activates the whole system.
Got it. So then there will be activation mechanisms right at the doors and people will be able to use their ticket to open.
That's right. There'll be a little card reader, so it'll be like
Okay.
a box with a little piece of glass and
Oh.
put the card in there. And it'll read
Okay.
the card to let you in the pedestrian door.
All right. So have we tested this yet?
No, we don't have any that work right now. Actually, we have a card reader, but it's never worked. It's never been hooked up. So we've never tested it, but it is a standard feature for the system. I was thinking that as we were talking, Counselor, that I'm sure we'll be troubleshooting some problems at the beginning, but we'll
Yeah.
have to work on that.
Okay, great. That's what I hope we do so that we don't run into people getting trapped and they can't use for some reason, the card isn't reading their ticket. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Is there a motion? Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Is there further discussion? If not, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anybody
Aye.
opposed? That motion passes. Okay, we're on to our last item on this very snowy night, item K, an ordinance amending section 2-8.2A, creating a department by removing language that describes a recreation division as a division of the Community Health and Safety Department and Family Youth and Services as a component of the Community Services Department, and by removing the term safety from the name of the Office of Emergency Management and Safety. We have Kira Ochoa, our Community Health and Safety Department Director. Counselor Lindell did pull this item. She is still out there in the snow. So I believe what she had wanted and what I think she can watch later, hopefully, is just if Director Ochoa, you could just walk through kind of what you're doing, what the vision is, and kind of why this is necessary. We can probably get through this pretty quickly, but I think it would be helpful. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, we are looking at kind of the second level of reorganization after the creation of the Community Health and Safety Department. So thank you, Director Oster. On your screen is, can everyone see that? Actually, it's only facing me.
Okay, we're having a little technical trouble. Can we get that on all the screens?
We have a current org chart
Okay,
per the ordinance, and the ordinance currently puts community services, fire, police, the recreation department, and the Office of Emergency Management and Safety under the Community Health and Safety Department. Within community services currently, we have youth and family services, which technically would include our youth programs, as well as all the work of Julie Sanchez and her team, our senior services, and our library services. What we're proposing to do in this amendment is thank you. We're proposing to formalize the change that's already taken place operationally, which is one, the safety division of the Office of Emergency Management and Safety is now with the city manager's office and reporting directly to the deputy city manager. So that's no longer in the Community Health and Safety Department. It's more of an internal service. Fire police are still here. And then we're proposing to move recreation, which now includes all our youth programs, after school and summer programs, into community services. And we're proposing to pull out, although the ordinance doesn't explicitly dictate this, it just allows us to do this. We're proposing to pull out the Youth and Family Services division, which the name may change, which would include all the indirect programming, Connect, Mayors for Guaranteed Income, our violence prevention work, our homeless services work. So that becomes kind of an office of that social innovation work that Julie and her team do. And flagged in this reorg is the fact that we have an administrative services division. I just wanted you all to be aware that, you know, one of the things we tried to affect in the reorganization was efficiency. We now have one business operations manager, Manuel Sanchez, who oversees the administrative administrative managers for different departments. So we are gaining greater efficiency there, where we're doing cross training of contracts administrators. You don't have to have one just specific to a division or a department. Now they can do a range of work. So really, I think the biggest change is that recreation is no longer a standalone department. When it was separated out from Parks and Rec, it shrunk a little bit, but we also really began to see the ways in which the functions of recreation are very similar to the functions of senior services and library services. These are facilities that are welcoming facilities for our community that house incredible programs. So really the oversight of that is now under Maria Sanchez Tucker, and we're finding that that works very well in terms of, you know, working with Public Works on capital projects that relate to all three of those divisions, looking for grant funding for all of those functions, and really being the community facing department where most people, we hope, have a positive experience of what the city has to offer them in terms of community centers, if you will.
Okay, I'm not sure, is Counselor Lindell on the Zoom? Maybe not. All right, if she pops in, somebody let me know. Otherwise, we'll just go to questions from the committee. Are there questions about this from the committee? Okay, is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second. There's a motion and a second to approve this item. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you, Director Cho, for being here tonight. All right, that concludes our consent agenda. We'll go quickly to matters from staff.
No matters from staff.
Matters from the committee. Yes, Counselor Rivera.
Sorry, just quickly, I had asked for a financial breakdown of the radio purchases that we made for I believe it was fire, police, and the RECC. I know the city manager had it, and I still haven't received that information. It's been probably 6 months at least. I don't know if I have to put out a resolution requesting that information or really what I have to do, but I think I've given plenty of time. It should be here. If you could pass that on, Ms. Oster, I'd appreciate it.
And we did have our assistant city manager, I think, in the room, so she can take that message back, I believe. I can't see to the back of the room because the screen is in the way, but
I don't think
she was here. She was here earlier.
Yeah, she's not here, but Director Oster, I'm sure can.
Okay,
Oh, there she.
there she is. Okay, perfect. All right, so I think that message has the correct people in the room to relay it to the correct people in government. Okay, anything else, Councilor Rivera?
That's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, matters from the chair. Our next meeting is Monday, February 27th. This has been a very quick meeting. Everybody, please be careful out there. The roads are just awful. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Be safe.